he is set to feast. And I'm not saying that he's definitely going to finish top 12. However, volume is king. You know that. I know that. Your grandmother knows that. Your uncle knows that you don't talk to anymore. Volume is king. You have got to get the workload to finish or even have a shot at finishing as a top 12 running back. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And I'm ready in today's video on a whim's notice to give you my best stash, breakout, sell high, buy low, my last trade details, and more, because we are rocking with the wheel of Dynasty, and whatever she spins on, I must oblige. So let's go ahead and get this thing started here in 3, 2, 1. I got to give you a buy low. So to start off the video, I'm going to talk about a running back. I think the community is overreacting a little too far to the running back Josh Jacobs. All right, Josh Jacobs in his first 5 years has been the definition of consistency. He's averaging a career top 12 in points per game from 2019 to 2023, while typically being on an offense that is one of the bottom half of the league in scoring points per game. And every time his team finished top 15 in offensive points per game, he also finished top 12 as a points per game scorer. And now he gets to join the Green Bay Packers, who, let's be honest, the Green Bay Packers, probably the best offense he's been a part of right now from day one, like point blank period. I can't point to another offense that's a better offense he's ever been a part of. So sure, you can make the argument that in Green Bay, they're going to scale back a little bit on how they use Josh Jacobs, but you could also make the argument that there will be more scoring opportunities. Look at what he's done on a bad offense. What could he do on a good offense? I mean, could he fall into 10 touchdowns on the Green Bay Packers offense? I think it's a possibility. So for me, Josh Jacobs is a must buy. Let's see what the Wheel of Dynasty is going to give us next. So next, I got to give you a to be honest, okay? Look, let's be honest for a second. I got to be vulnerable. As much as I think I know what's going to happen in 2024, I cannot, for the life of me, predict the Houston wide receiver room. It is incredibly difficult to project. I don't really know that anyone out there actually has it right. And let me explain. Here's why this is difficult. Okay, so you think about Nico Collins. Fantastic player. Nico Collins last year averaged over 17 points per game, broke out, and then got a contract extension with CJ Stroud. Awesome. Well, how about Tank Dell? When Tank Dell became a starter from week 8 onwards, he averaged over 20 points per game in that stretch before getting injured. And obviously we know the chemistry that he and CJ Stroud have off the field. I mean, they're doing podcasts together. All that's fantastic. But does it really help us project going into 2024? Because the situation's changed. They have added Stephon Diggs. He is now in H-Town. And Diggs in the last 4 years is averaging 160 targets per season or more. Look at the last 4 years, guys. Again, averaging over 160 targets, a target hog, a target monster. And we've seen him produce alongside prime Adam Thielen back in 2018 before he was like that dude in the NFL. In 2018, you can see Adam Thielen, 19.2 points per game, wide receiver 7 finish, 153 targets. Well, Stephon Diggs, almost 18 points per game, wide receiver 10 finish, 149 targets. Here's my point. You can literally make an argument for whoever you want on this team. If you want to be the Tank Dell guy, you can make that argument. If you want to be the Nico Collins guy, you can make that argument. If you want to go buy Stephon Diggs because you think he's going to help you win your championship this year, you can make that argument. But maybe, just maybe if we're honest, there might be some inconsistencies. We might be frustrated at times with some of the receivers. I don't know. So to be honest, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen in Houston this year. If I'm 100,000% transparent, what do you have for me next? Wheel of Dynasty. I've got to bring you, I'm excited about this one. I got to bring you my favorite stash. And my favorite stash right now in Dynasty football, you may have heard me talk about him before. How about A.T. Perry, wide receiver of the Saints? Full transparency, not a guy I really liked scouting out of Wake Forest. And he was drafted in round 6. The hit rate on a round 6 receiver for fantasy is booty cheeks. And when I say booty cheeks, it doesn't get worse than 0%. Okay, in the last decade, no receiver in round 6 has hit. And when I say hit, I mean top 24 points per game season. However, A.T. Perry did enough to pique my interest. He got his run when Michael Thomas went down with that injury in week 10, his, yearly scheduled injury, if you will. Week 10, the season ender for him. And from week 10 onwards, we saw A.T. Perry play 75% out wide. He is their X receiver. And for me, I think he exceeded expectations. From week 10 onwards, he averaged 7.6 PPR points per game. He was number 1 in yards per target, and he had 4 touchdowns in 8 performances. So 50% of his games, he had a touchdown, only had 18 targets. And I would argue that with those 18 targets, he did more than the average receiver in the NFL. If you look at running back and wide receiver fantasy points per touch last year, A.T. Perry was number 1. Nobody had more fantasy points per touch than A.T. Perry. Look at some other big names. Mike Evans was 7th. Gabe Davis was 8th. DK Metcalf was 9th. And A.T. Perry is going to have a chance to grow into an even larger role this year with the New Orleans Saints. Because if you look at that depth chart, is Bub Memes going to overtake him? Cedric Wilson? I think he's going to have a chance to be an X receiver for this team, play alongside Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. He had 4 touchdowns on 18 targets. This dude could be a red zone monster. At minimum, he should be rostered in every league. And if you can just add him as like a throw-in in a trade, I personally would suggest to go out and do so. But let's get on to the next spin for the Wheel of Dynasty. And I've got to bring you a sell high. Never fun to bring the Dynasty community a sell high. Can I be honest with you guys for a second? Doing a sell high video is the one that gives you the bubble guts, because you're going to get roasted in the comments, because ultimately someone's going to have that player and they're going to absolutely hate you and not listen to your take whatsoever, okay? But now that we have that out of the way, I got to be honest. I found it really difficult to find a sell high at this point of the season. I've already talked about so many players I'm looking to take advantage of the market with. So what I did is I looked at the top 30 ranked players on KTC's website, and I asked myself, of the top 30, who is most likely to lose value from right now to 1 year from now? And for me, the answer was obvious. It's Tyreek Hill. And let's just state the obvious with Tyreek Hill, okay? I am not telling you, go sell Tyreek Hill right now, fast. You have to sell Tyreek Hill. Look, if you're competing right now for a championship, you should keep Tyreek Hill. But any other build in Dynasty should not be rostering a Tyreek Hill. A 1-year punt, you should not have Tyreek Hill. A rebuilder, you should not have Tyreek Hill. Anything other than competing for the chip, he should not be on your team. And the proof is very, very simple. Before the 2023 season, just last year, Tyreek Hill got all the way up to wide receiver 3 in KTC's Dynasty rankings. Today, he's wide receiver 10. Okay, so what happened from then onwards, right? He must have had a bad season if he went from wide receiver 3 to wide receiver 10. He must have had a pretty bad year, right? No, wait a second. He literally had his best year ever in fantasy football. Never had a year like that. Averaged 23.5 points per game. His best year ever, was on track to break 2,000 yards, and he still fell in Dynasty rankings. Why? Why did he fall in Dynasty rankings? As stupid as it is, as simple-minded as it is, he's 30 years old. He's 30 years old. And no matter what you do, a wide receiver that has an over age of 30 tag is going to fall in Dynasty rankings. I'm not sitting here telling you that's right, or it should be the case, but I can tell you this with 1,000% certainty. No doubt in my mind. Tyreek Hill, no matter what he does production-wise, will never be more valuable in Dynasty football than he is today, okay? He will never gain value. He will never be more value. You'll never be able to get more draft picks for him, and it's simply because every year he'll be older and older and older. And if you don't agree with me, then what happened to Devontae Adams, who's been still producing as an older player? How about Cooper Kupp? What about Keenan Allen? I mean, you could go down the list. Look at every elite receiver in fantasy that's gotten older and older. It doesn't matter what they do on the field. The production doesn't matter. They lose value simply because of their age, right or wrong. So simply put, unless you're a contender, I think you should be selling Tyreek Hill. Don't hate me for it. I'm just the messenger. All right. What else the Wheel of Dynasty has for you fine people? I need to show you my last Dynasty trade. I'll be a little bit honest with you guys. I feel like at this point of the offseason, it's kind of a dead zone. So I do feel like overall most leagues are the most inactive they are, and then next month it kind of like flips. But here's my last trade, okay? I got Hollywood Brown a second round pick, sent away Evan Ingram and a third. And this is a super flex league. The reason I sold Evan Ingram, I love him, but I already had Trey McBride. I already had David Njoku, Isaiah Likely, and ultimately a manager who was tight end needy approached me. Not many tight ends out there like Evan Ingram, for a competing team. We worked out a deal. I don't really see any risk in the deal, right? I mean, I get Hollywood. If he's someone that I can go ahead and flex right now as I'm competing, fantastic. But even if Hollywood doesn't work out, I still got the pick swap that ended up really pushing it over the table for me. So you can see the starting lineup now. Like I said, with Trey McBride there, Evan Ingram just wasn't a necessary part of my team anymore. So it made sense for both teams. And I hope to get back, in the groove of things next month when leagues get a little more active. Alrighty, I need to finish with my breakouts. My breakout of the season. I am confident no one's going to be upset that I'm going to say this name. I'm confident no one's going to trash on this name. Obviously, that's sarcasm. Hopefully you understand. But Zamir White. I think Zamir White is going to break out in 2024. He is set to feast. Look, volume is king. You know that. I know that. Your grandmother knows that. Your uncle knows that you don't talk to anymore. Volume is king. You have got to get the workload to finish or even have a shot at finishing as a top 12 running back. I mean, let's look at 2023, for example, okay? I looked at the top 12 running back finishers in 2023. On average, out of the top 12, those guys averaged 18.3 touches per game. We got to see Zamir White as the featured running back in Vegas for 4 games last year. 4 games. That was weeks 15 to 18 when Josh Jacobs went down with an injury. In those 4 games, he averaged 23.3 total touches, which is way more than any running back that finished top 12 last year. Now, clearly, I'm not telling you I know for certain he's going to get over 20 touches a game, but there's some evidence that it's potentially the case. And I'm not saying that he's definitely going to finish top 12. However, we know the volume is there. That's one key piece to the puzzle. Can he continue to be as efficient as he was in the 4 games he started last year? Because let's be honest, he was pretty damn good. When I talk about Zamir White, a lot of people bring up Alexander Mattison. So I just want to quickly say, in my opinion, those are 2 completely different situations. Firstly, Zamir White was actually really good when he started for his team. Alexander Mattison has always been one of the league's most inefficient running backs. I mean, Zamir White versus Kansas City, which was probably the best defense in the NFL last year, put up 145 yards and averaged almost 7 yards per carry. Alexander Mattison never did anything that impressive, at least that I remember. And the second thing I'll just point out about those 2, players is the identity in Vegas is very clear. What Antonio Pierce wants to do is establish the rock game in, game out. That is not the case with the Vikings last year. Last year, the Vikings were still a pass-heavy team under Kirk Cousins. And last thing I'll say is the coach speak index is all over Zamir White, as in the coaches love him. They're obsessed with him. All reports are that he's the clear number 1. They're talking about Alexander Mattison as a depth piece. They're talking about Dylan Labe as maybe a rotational guy. Reason I'm saying that is Zamir White is going to be that dude if he's healthy for this team. And ultimately the volume will be there. I think he has a chance to improve his value. And I think he's relatively a good player. This is a former 5-star, recruit out of Georgia. Just hasn't been able to really get his opportunity. So, all right. Stash, breakout, sell high, buy low, to be honest, and my last trade. I hope you guys enjoy these kind of videos. Do me a favor, smash that like button to show some love. Subscribe if you like the content. And the last thing I'll say, you guys probably are seeing us go live most nights reviewing people's dynasty teams. If you want that experience, it's very simple, and there's now 2 options to get it. Number 1 is by simply being a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. You're going to unlock all the premium tools on the site, our rankings, databases, and a complimentary team review. The second option is regardless of what promo code you use at sign up, or even if you are a member, you can buy an a la carte team review, which means you're just buying the team review. So both of those links are in the pinned comment. Check that out. And by the way, every time you do sign up and become a member or, super chat, or you buy a team review from us, you are actively helping us create better content for you. And fun news for you guys, we did just hire our first video editor. Super hyped about that. That's going to give Badaki and I a chance to just make the content even better for you and to be able to offer more for you guys as well. So thank you for the support. I appreciate y'all big time, and I'll see you in the next one. All love. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.